What's good, everyone? This is Dr. Nee. I'm joined by a special guest, as well as a special company organization. It's not too often that I do this, but when there is an organization or there is a product that I think is definitely going to help you all as docs outside the box, I'm all about it. And this product is a product that's going to help probably the most basic thing that is most important to us. And that most basic thing is our name. Our name is our bond. Our name, what goes beyond our name is all the hard work, all of the schooling, and also our name is not just all the schooling and the sacrifices that we made, but also our reputation. Okay, that's most important. So we talk about FIRE movement on this podcast. Sometimes we talk about real estate. We talk about investing. We talk about traveling overseas. We talk about all of these different things that doctors can do. But at the most basic level, the most important thing that you have, that's the most valuable thing, is who you are as a person. And oftentimes that relates to reputation. So I am joined today by Avalon Hartman, who represents PathIQ. It's a company that is focused on healthcare reputation management for individual providers like you, for hospitals, as well as for healthcare organizations. Avalon, welcome to Docs Outside the Box. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. It's really fun to be on this show.
Yeah, I'm excited that you are here. Like I said before, we talk about all of these different things that you can do, whether it's saving up money, paying off your debt, all these different things. But, let's get to the basics of, representing and protecting your name. So before we jump into what PathIQ is, right? Tell us, first of all, what is reputation management? Because that's what it says on your website. You guys do healthcare reputation management. What does that mean for us physicians who are listening?
I know, right? It's a little esoteric to say reputation management. Basically, in a nutshell, what we do is we look across the web and find out what people are saying about you so you can be alerted to that. But on another avenue of what we do is we have a software that allows you to get online reviews posted to your Google My Business page. So it is a very basic branding opportunity that physicians are really excited about and are taking advantage of. And I think it is a super useful tool to have under your tool belt so you can make sure that you are being represented well and taking care of business.
Now, you mentioned your software. The name of your software is called PathIQ. And then you also mentioned Google's My Business. Can you kind of decipher the two, tell us the difference between the two and why both are important?
Oh, sure. So everybody knows Google, I think. But obviously, Google is overwhelmingly the largest presence in our lives, pretty much. Anything or anytime we need to look up something, what you do is you Google it. It's a verb now. So people may not know that as a physician, you are able to set up a personal Google My Business page profile. Only physicians and dentists or businesses get them. So we found that it's a super unique opportunity to get about a third of a screen of a computer screen with your name, your branding, where you work, everything that's about you. You can even post videos on it. And it starts building your brand. And what PathIQ software does is we take patient reviews. We make it super easy for patients to leave a review, and then those reviews get posted to that Google My Business page.
Now I get it. Okay.
Yeah. So when people are wanting a plastic surgeon in their area, or they've been referred to you as a doctor, basically what you do is you Google it. And if you've got your profile set up, you will have your page pop up. It will show everything about you, and people will be able to read other people's reviews of your services. It's important to figure out who's going to be working on you, especially in certain areas of being a doctor, like a dermatologist, a surgeon.
Particularly when it's elective, those type of
when it's elective, you want to know. Yeah.
So, so basically what you're saying with the Google My Business page or Google My Business, that option, just like when we are looking up a company or looking up a restaurant and we see the phone number, we see the address, and then we see a section for reviews, right?
Yep.
And you can see, you're saying that type of profile can exist for physicians and dentists right now?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
And it is free. It is free to set it up. They just verify it like you would any other page. You set it up, you put all your information in there, and then super easily you can start getting your patient reviews. And another aspect of this is that a lot of physicians work for practices, maybe there's 10, 15 physicians under an umbrella. And when a patient reviews them, they're reviewing an individual physician, but those reviews are going to the practice's location.
Right.
It's not benefiting the physician. So how does anybody know who to use or what someone's bedside manner is, or it just gives the ability to individualize a physician. And so you can also take those reviews with you if you decide not to work at the same location. You want to go somewhere else.
Which could happen, right? Because
absolutely.
This ain't just like, everybody else, your parents worked at who weren't in healthcare. Everybody realized in the 60s, 70s, or 70s, 80s, and 90s that it's time to move on, right? Like staying 20, 30 years at one company is not going to be the same. The same thing happens for physicians. So the likelihood of you staying at one place, is really unlikely. And
Super unlikely.
For you to have, I think the way how I look at it is for you to look at a new job or apply for a new job or interview for a new job and be able to put on your CV that you have these reviews, or Google me and look at my reviews. I think it's a really powerful weapon that you can use when you're looking for a job.
Absolutely. Because even as an employer, you want to know that the physician that you're hiring, that they've got, let's say they've got 200 happy patients. Well, that's going to definitely look good on you. And it's going to be different. If you've got that profile set up, they are going to Google your name as normally anybody would. And then maybe somebody else that applies for the same job has no profile set up, or has a profile set up and it's only got 6 reviews, and maybe they're lopsided because the only people who are motivated enough to leave a review is somebody who maybe has a bad experience that they want to tell people about. So our software makes it super easy for a physician to text or email a patient right after the appointment saying, "Hey, super happy to see you today. Thanks so much. Would you mind leaving us a review?" We make it one touch. So it goes on your phone, you do one touch, it pulls up the star rating, touch the stars. You can type in a review if you want to, just hit enter, and the review is posted to your page. So super easy. We've taken all the friction out of it. And we find that happy patients are really, really agreeable, and just there's no problem. They're happy to give a positive review.
Yeah. So, it just seems like the more angrier they are, the more likely a patient doesn't care about friction. He's like, to heck with friction. I'm going to leave this review wherever I can leave this review. But happier patients, or patients who, are just in the middle, they probably are not going to take the time out to, like you said, go to a Google, business page and leave you a review, because it really doesn't matter to them that much.
Right. But it's they've got 20 other things to do during the day. Even if you ask them, "Hey, would you mind leaving me a review?" They'll say yes. And they mean well, and they, some will, but the majority of people will not take extra time and think about it. They'll just forget, right? Yeah. So if you send the text and then you do a follow-up email, even if they don't get to the text, as soon as they get home, they look at the email, "Oh yeah, I meant to do that." It's just a super good way to generate a lot of positive, improve your reputation, a lot of positive votes.
So this software in PathIQ, what it does is it provides a very quick and easy interface for, let's say, a dentist staff or a private practice staff to let the patients know, "Hey, can you leave us a review really quickly and easy, either using a QR code or using a text on their phone," correct?
You got it. Yep.
And then that when they respond, with those quick 5 stars or whatever, how many stars, then that will get shipped straight to Google, your Google homepage or your Google business page, correct?
That's right.
Now, what other platforms do you guys support? Because every time I look up like my name, or I look up other people's name, like there's just so many things or programs that rate physicians and gives them reviews. Like, what are the main things or the main platforms that you guys are on?
So Google My Business by far, Google is I would say 95% of the market, but there are a bunch of other ancillary ones. We're on Facebook, which is a big one. We post to Facebook, and then we also do health grades. So beyond that, you're kind of splitting the vote because there are so many listing websites and review sites that really overwhelmingly, when someone is going to look it up, especially if your page pops up right to the right-hand side, and it's your smiling face in your picture, that's where people are going to, where people are going to go. They're going to be like, okay, I'm going to look him up. And even if they don't have your name and they type in, like dentist near me or surgeon near me, whatever, orthopedic surgeon, on the left-hand side, what's going to pull up is a list of practitioners or offices. And me as a consumer, what I would do, in fact, I have recently, is I look for someone and I read about it. I click on them and I read their reviews. And if they're all good, then I go to the website. If you have a choice between choosing someone who's got poor reviews, we know that's not going to happen, right? Or someone who's got no reviews, you're going to look and choose based on what other people say.
So, I think it's really important what you mentioned, because I think, at least from my generation, I think I'm the last of Gen X. I finished my training 2013, and particularly with what I do, right? What I do is, like, patients don't have a choice, right? Yeah. They weren't expecting to get into a car accident or get stabbed or, get appendicitis, whatever it is. They need to come to me and see me, and they don't have a choice for the most part in who they see. And I think from my perspective, if I got a review or if I get a review from a patient, I don't put much stock in it, because I'm like, well, you don't understand what I do anyway, right? Like, you either happy or you don't happy, or you live or you don't live, right? Those type of reviews or that type of thing. So if they see something negative, usually it's, I guess in my generation or the people who I work with, they're like, well, you don't understand what I do anyway if you didn't have a good experience anyway. So why should I put stock in that? So Avalon, like, explain to me, explain to the doctors listening, the hospitalists, those who are employed by the hospitals, who are not in those type of boutique type situations. Why are reviews specifically on you important?
Oh, I think it's super important. It's the basis of your profile and your online existence. You want other people to know that you're good, that you are great at your job. You want that vote. And you want, like we said, you might not be working at the place that, like your dad worked for 60 years because he had a pension, right? That just doesn't happen anymore. People move around, people go find different jobs, or people want to open up their own practice. And they're already a super ahead of the game if they've got a lot of votes online, because you'll generate business.
Now, there is a study that you mentioned before that talked about the importance of getting a negative review and what that does to your ability to bring in revenue. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So Harvard did a study. They concluded that a 1-star drop in someone's rating equaled about 9% of revenue. So it's a minus 9%. So, it's real dollars and cents. It's a lot of money. And if you can add your Google My Business profile, which is free, and start sending out review requests, which is basically free, right? Our software is super inexpensive, very affordable. Then, bolster your revenue. It's not always all about revenue, but certainly, we're all in the business to be financially successful and be able to make a difference in the world. And if people have a choice, they're going to choose the doctor that's got positive reviews. So we think it's important. It's such a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I think for the ones who do boutique medicine, and I hope if the doctors who are listening, I hope you don't cringe, because I'm not trying to poo-poo what you're saying. But I think it's a no-brainer for doctors who are in an elective fashion, who practice based off of, what people say, word of reference and so forth.
Yep.
I think this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But I also think, what about the doctors like me, or the doctors who are employed by the hospital? At the end of their stay, the hospital already sends out a survey. They may send out the Press Ganey survey and so forth. is there a difference between what that survey that they're sending out versus what PathIQ is? Talk to us, like, why should we even care? Because I think that's the biggest thing that I think most doctors who are not, they're not thinking about branding, but they should
Right.
be. And they may be thinking, well, this whole system there's already a system in place to review me already. Why am I worried about this? So that's what I'm trying to elucidate from you.
Well, if your hospital system or your practice already has a review system, they're getting reviews from all sorts of different patients on the facility, on the front office staff, on your physician friend, or your physician who maybe is not such a great physician. So you work for one big organization, that's where you get lumped. Your skills get put in with an organization's reputation, and it has nothing to do with really how good you are. You can't stand out. You can't make a name for yourself, and you can't differentiate yourself if your hospital or your practice is not doing so great. I mean, we all know it's beyond our control so many times. We work for a place that maybe you're in a bad area, maybe outcomes aren't good, whatever. People have a beef with it. You get low star ratings for that facility. You could be a perfectly great doctor and your patients could love you, but how does anyone know that? You just get lumped in, and this is a way to break free from that, establish your name, establish that you have a following, and start building what your legacy is, really what it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that, though I think with the larger hospitals, like you said, there's so many other factors that get involved with a patient leaving a review, and it may not be under your control. Whereas this is an opportunity for them to, you specifically, what do they think about you? And I think for the docs who want to be outside the box, docs who want to set up a social media presence or want to have at least some type of branding presence online, maybe even do something outside related to whether it's real estate, podcasting, whatever it may be, you should be sure, like, someone is going to be looking you up and they want to see what the reviews say about you.
Sure.
If there's any out there whatsoever, they're going to form an opinion on you anyway. So you might as well control that. And since you're already a great physician, because I know everyone who's listening to the show is an amazing physician, right? Or dentist or medical student or resident, whatever it may be, you might as well have the social proof to show it. So.
Yeah, and I should mention too that even if you're at a location that has a survey that already goes out, you can use PathIQ on top of it. So basically, when a patient leaves your office or leaves your presence, really, you could say, "Hey, would you mind giving me a review?" You log on to our software; it's actually always up, always on. Type in their phone number, type in their email, whatever, or have your office people do it. They get that request right away. And then maybe, like a week later or 2-3 days later, they'll get a survey for the office. And they can leave both. It doesn't matter, but really usually the first one who does it is the one that kind of gets more attention. And it's so immediate. It's right there. They're ready to do it. They feel a little bit more obligated, especially if you say, "Hey, can you tell me, is there anything I could improve today? Were you happy?" Right? You want to know if people are happy. It gives you the opportunity to mitigate circumstances. If you get
let's talk about that, bad reviews. So what do you like? Because I mean, it could happen, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you get a bad review, what do you do, and how does that help a physician if they get a bad review?
Yeah. So we have a couple safeguards in place. You will be alerted to anybody who leaves a review. We actually send you an email with this specific review on it. So you'll get notified. No surprises there. And it gives you the opportunity to touch base with the client and say, "Hey, thanks so much for your review. You kind of want to take it offline. That's my suggestion. You kind of want to say, "Hey,
let me see you in these streets."
Yeah, meet me in the alley. No,
yeah.
But you want to be concerned. You can reply using our software, so you can go onto your portal and you can say, "Thanks so much for leaving a review. Please call please call me at your earliest convenience. Call my office. We'd like to,
So don't air out the dirty laundry on
not
like
online.
how Airbnb reviews are, like this
Nope.
person. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay. So try to be as neutral as possible.
Sure. And then, this is the area where, in all kidding aside, people who are unhappy are the ones who are filing lawsuits. So it gives you the very first opportunity to change the course, right? So it's the client or the patient who is feeling unheard, feeling that you were unjustified in something you did, something went wrong. It's their first opportunity to tell people about it. And if you get there first and you say, hey, let's say within an hour, you say, hey, I just noticed you left me a poor review. What can I do? I'm here. I want to help. That changes the course of everything. It changes the course of everything. If you don't know it and they leave a review for your facility, how do you know? How do you know what they're about to say? And then the longer it drags on, nobody pays attention, and then they get more upset. So it's just such a good way to just keep on top and make sure people are happy.
What about just ignoring bad reviews? Like, how important is that?
I wouldn't. I mean, just for that reason. I mean, I think that everybody will get some poor reviews. I think that's normal. We all know that you're not going to have 100% 5 stars. In fact, it doesn't look realistic if you do. Be suspect of somebody that has, 600 5-star reviews. They might not all be genuine. So it gives you credibility when you do get a poor review. But I think it's important to take a look at it and see what's behind it. Sometimes, this is unfortunate, sometimes people, I've seen this, log on to somebody else's account or get messed up, and they'll leave a poor review for a physician that's not even their physician. They get confused or something happens and they post a review, and unfortunately, Google is not in the business of figuring out whose patient is whose.
Right.
So they don't do anything about it. It's just bad luck, really, sometimes. But it's always good to reply and say, I'm so sorry. I don't seem to, I think this is HIPAA compliant. We don't seem to have you as a patient. I think that's HIPAA compliant to do. And so you can at least put that out there, that he's not talking about your skills.
I've had plenty of occasions where patients are like, oh, man, like, I'm really appreciative of the team that's taking care of me. And I say, hey, just leave it in the surveys. It's great. Thank you so much. But I now know, like, in this situation, I could be like, hey, listen, like, I could give them a card with a QR code on it, or I could just say, hey, is this something that I could have on my phone and they can scan my phone or something like that also?
Yep.
Like, hey, as they're in the hospital bed, hey, listen, leave me a review. I need a review. Let me know that gallbladder surgery was amazing. Like, these are things that I think we all need to be thinking about. And that's what I'm thinking also as I continue to want to expand my presence. I think it does go a long way to have people clinically be able to say something nice about me, and that now they see, this Docs Outside the Box podcast and all of these different things. It could also be balanced with, really nice reviews specifically on me.
Absolutely. You also, as a person. I think so. Even if you're like a lecturer, right? I mean, people look up your name. So if they do, you want to look good on your profile and you want to be present, and it shows people you're accessible. If you have nothing up on the profile, you're just, I don't want to say you're a nobody, but online, you're kind of a nobody.
Now, in terms of the back end of using the software, we're talking about, you're logging in and you get to see all of your reviews and then you get to respond through there. Is that pretty much it?
Oh, well, we have lots of analytics because the world's all made up of analytics. So we measure it all sorts of ways. You see your star rating. You're able to respond to reviews. We have a block list. Let's say you have a patient that is super cranky. You can stick their name on the block list. That means that they will never get a review request from you. It doesn't mean they can't log on to Google themselves and leave it, but you're just not going to invite that. We also have a widget. So if you have a personal website, you can pull your reviews up to your website, and we rotate them, and we only post the 5-star ones. We don't post the bad ones on your website. But so I think two things are key. One for sure is that you're alerted, you're sent an alert if you ever get a poor review. And then you can, I'll speak as maybe more of a facilitator level, because we have tons of practices. Practices are able to go in and they're able to search reviews. So if you're a practice manager or you're in charge of several physicians, you can figure out what's going on in your practice with a very, very candid way. You can search bedside manner. You can search per physician. You can search wait time, figure out about the office staff. So there's many applications, and we're coming out with new stuff. But I think that the idea of people using this to brand themselves is pretty darn new. And people are really understanding the importance, and why not jump on the bandwagon, right? You spend all this time in medical school.
Jump on or get left behind. That's how I look at it, right?
Absolutely, right? It's fun to be kind of more on the forefront.
Now, is there a certain level of training that you have to be in order to start using this? Like, for example, can residents use this, or do you have to be a fully functioning, independent, physician or dentist to be using this?
That's a good question. As long as you have your number.
Okay.
Yeah, then you can start using
your MPI number, I'm assuming.
MPI number, exactly. Okay. You use your number, you get set up with the page, and you can start. And it doesn't mean that you have to have some goal of, I need 500 reviews in this month. Right. We're pretty much there for you, right? So it is very easy to use. I mean, I think it's pretty second nature these days, not complicated at all. Doesn't take a lot of time. I mean, especially if you use a QR code, literally you hold a piece of paper in front of someone or give them a business card. That's all you're doing. So it takes no time at all. And there's lots of good positive results out of it.
So there it is, everyone. This is reputation management at the most granular level, which is reviews, right? And this is electronic gold. So Avalon, if someone wants to sign up and want to use this program or want to learn more about it, where are they going?
Well, I hope what they're doing is they're calling me at 858-375-5686, or they're logging on to EMPATHIQ, and then we're a .io. So I'm happy to talk to anybody if they don't understand how to set up their Google My Business profile. It's super easy, but they want me to walk them through it. I like to hear what people's journeys are and help them along. That's what we're all about.
Okay. Is there an ability, if let's say they mention Docs Outside the Box, can they get anything off if they call in?
Yes.
My audience, they're always expecting free stuff from me. So
yeah.
come on,
I forgot.
audience.
Yes, we talked about this. Yeah. That's right.
The audience always thinks that I'm about to give them. No, they deserve it. I'm teasing.
This is good. Actually, 2 months free. Mention that you heard this on Docs Outside the Box. We will do 2 months free for you and get you set up in no time.
Y'all heard that, guys. Y'all heard that. Listen.
That's right.
If you call PathIQ, or you get in contact with Avalon Hartman, let her know that you heard about this through Docs Outside the Box, and you get a little bit off, your 1-year subscription. All right. So listen, Avalon, thank you so much for coming on the podcast to talk about this important subject. This is super, super important. Besides getting in contact with you, what about the website? The website you said is Empath, EM. Can you just say the website again, please?
Oh, sure. You bet. It's EMPATHIQ.io. And I'll also mention you can email me easily at Avalon, AVALON, at EMPATHIQ.io.
There it is. Avalon and PathIQ. Thank you so much for coming on Docs Outside the Box. We really appreciate it. Thanks again.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.